If you walk through the crowded streets of any major city, New York, London, Tokyo, and you really look at the men passing you by, you will notice a haunting pattern. It is not something you see in their clothes or their watches. It is something you see in their eyes. It is a look of mild, apologetic desperation. It is the look of a man who has spent his entire life trying to take up as little space as possible. A man who walks with his shoulders hunched forward, protecting a heart that he believes is too fragile for this world. A man who smiles when he is insulted. A man who laughs when he is mocked. A man who apologizes when someone else bumps into him. This is the nice guy. He is the most common archetype of the modern era. He is the employee who stays late on Friday night to fix a mistake he didn't make, hoping his boss will finally validate him. He is the friend who listens to hours of emotional dumping, hoping his patience will be traded for love. He is the partner who suppresses his own desires, his own opinions, and his own anger, because he is terrified that if he shows his true self, he will be abandoned. He believes, truly, deeply believes, that he is a good man. He defines his morality by what he doesn't do. He doesn't get angry. He doesn't start conflicts. He doesn't offend anyone. He doesn't take risks. He tells himself, I am not like those toxic men. I am safe. I am virtuous. I am nice. But there is a catastrophic error in his code, a lie that is rotting him from the inside out. Nice is not the same thing as good. If you look at the etymology of the word nice, it comes from the Latin word nescius, which literally means ignorant or unaware. In the Middle Ages, it meant stupid or foolish. It was never a word of power. It was never a word of honor. Being a nice guy is not a moral virtue. It is a survival strategy. It is a defense mechanism developed by a terrified child who learned that the only way to survive in a chaotic or demanding environment was to be perfect, compliant, and invisible. The nice guy is not being kind because he overflows with love. He is being kind because he is paralyzed by fear. He is terrified of rejection. He is terrified of conflict. He is terrified of his own shadow. And because his goodness is driven by fear, it is not goodness at all. It is cowardice disguised as morality. Think about the harmless rabbit. A rabbit does not eat the wolf. A rabbit does not hurt anyone. Is the rabbit virtuous? No. The rabbit is harmless because it is weak. It has no choice. It cannot kill. Now, think about the warrior who stands guard at the gate. He holds a sword. He is capable of violence. He is capable of destruction. But he keeps his sword in its sheath. He chooses peace, but he is prepared for war. That is virtue. Virtue requires the capacity for danger. The nice guy has castrated himself psychologically. He has thrown away his sword. He has convinced himself that being harmless makes him holy. But in the real world, the world of biology, business, and polarity, being harmless just makes you food. And this is the silent tragedy. The nice guy does everything right. He follows all the rules. He is the perfect student. He is the obedient son. He is the supportive friend. He waits in line. He waits for his turn. He believes in a cosmic karma bank. He thinks, if I sacrifice enough, if I suffer enough, if I am good enough, eventually the world will reward me. Eventually I will get the girl. Eventually I will get the respect. But the reward never comes. The promotion goes to the man who demanded it, not the one who silently worked for it. The woman falls for the man who challenges her and excites her, not the one who worships the ground she walks on. The world respects the man who has boundaries, not the man who has none. And so, the nice guy begins to rot. Underneath that smiling, polite, agreeable mask, there is a volcano of repressed rage. The nice guy is often the angriest person in the room. He is bitter. He is resentful. He feels scammed by life. He thinks, after everything I did for them, how could they treat me like this? He becomes passive-aggressive. He becomes sarcastic. He withdraws. He sulks. He punishes people with his silence. His niceness was never a gift. It was a loan. And now he is coming to collect a debt that no one signed up for. If you see yourself in this description, I am not here to tell you that you are enough or that the world just doesn't appreciate you. I am here to tell you that you are the problem. Your strategy has failed. Your map is outdated. You are operating on software written for a scared 5-year-old boy, trying to navigate a ruthless adult world. It is killing your attraction. It is killing your career. And most importantly, it is killing your soul. We are going to perform surgery. Over the course of this series, we are going to dissect the nice guy pathology piece by piece. We will look at the childhood conditioning, how your parents and the school system broke your spirit to make you manageable. We will expose the covert contracts, the manipulative transactions you use to buy love. We will explore the biology of disgust, why your lack of aggression makes people physically recoil from you. And finally, we will guide you through the integration of the shadow, how to reclaim your aggression, your selfishness, and your power, not to become a villain, but to become a whole, integrated man. The goal is not to become a bad boy or a jerk. That is just the other side of the same immature coin. The goal is to become real, to be a man who can say no without guilt, a man who can ask for what he wants without shame, a man who can handle the tension of being disliked, a man who is respected not because he is pleasing, but because he is formidable. The mask has become heavy. It is suffocating you. It is time to peel it off, even if it tears the skin. Welcome to the death of the nice guy. Welcome to your life. Chapter 1. The Origins of Pathology. To solve the puzzle of the nice guy, we must first accept a fundamental truth. No baby is born a nice guy. No human infant enters this world with a natural instinct to suppress their own needs, to hide their emotions, or to apologize for their existence. Look at a baby. When a baby is hungry, it screams. When it is happy, it laughs. When it is angry, it turns red and thrashes. It does not look around the room to see if its crying is inconvenient for others. It is pure, unfiltered authenticity. It is unapologetically alive. So, how does that wild, authentic infant turn into the neurotic, terrified, people-pleasing man we see today? It is not a genetic defect. It is a programming error. To understand this code, we must look at the two biological imperatives that rule the life of every child: attachment and authenticity. Attachment is the need to be close to a caregiver. For a human child, this is not just an emotional need. It is a matter of life and death. A gazelle can run minutes after birth. A human child is helpless for years. If the parents reject the child dies. It is that simple. The brain knows this. Authenticity is the need to be who you are, to follow your gut, to express your anger, to explore your curiosity. In a healthy environment, a child does not have to choose. He can be authentic. He can be messy, loud, and angry, and his parents will still provide attachment. They will still love him. But the nice guy was raised in an environment where he was forced to make a catastrophic choice. He learned very early on that he could not be both real and loved. He had to amputate his authenticity to buy his survival. Let's look at the specific family dynamics that manufacture nice guys. Dr. Robert Glover, the pioneer of this field, identified two main archetypes of toxic parenting that create this pathology. The first is the volatile or absent father. If the father was an angry, unpredictable, or critical tyrant, the boy learned a simple survival strategy: invisibility. He learned that men are dangerous. He learned that having needs, making noise, or showing aggression would poke the bear. So he became the good boy. He became quiet. He became excellent at reading the room. He developed a radar for other people's moods, scanning for danger before it happened. He decided subconsciously, if I am perfect, if I am quiet, if I demand nothing, then Dad won't hurt me. The second archetype, and this is far more common in the modern era, is the enmeshed mother. This happens when the father is emotionally absent, weak, or gone. The mother, feeling lonely and overwhelmed, turns to her son for the emotional support she isn't getting from her husband. She makes her son her little man. She tells him, "You are so much better than your father. You are so sensitive. You understand me." This sounds like love, but it is actually emotional incest. It is a heavy burden for a child. The boy learns that he is responsible for his mother's happiness. If she is sad, it's his fault. If she is angry, he failed. He learns the most dangerous lesson of all. My needs hurt people. To be a good person, I must ignore my own needs and focus entirely on the feelings of others. He learns to be a chameleon. He learns to suppress his rough masculine energy because it scares his mother. He creates a false self, a mask that is designed to keep mommy happy. But the programming doesn't stop at home. As the boy grows, he enters the second factory of the nice guy, the modern school system. We must be honest about this. The modern education system is structurally designed to punish masculinity. Boys are naturally energetic, competitive, aggressive, and kinetic. They learn by moving. They learn by testing boundaries. But schools demand that they sit still for 7 hours a day, stay quiet, and repeat what they are told. The behavior that is natural for a boy is labeled as a disorder or toxic. The behavior that is natural for a girl is praised. The boy is told over and over again that his natural instincts are wrong. Stop running. Use your inside voice. Why can't you be more like your sister? He internalizes a deep sense of toxic shame. He begins to believe that there is something fundamentally broken about him. He thinks, my core self is bad. Therefore, I must hide it. I must construct a personality that pleases the teachers, pleases the parents, and pleases the girls. He becomes a master of performance. He is not doing his homework to learn. He is doing it to be a good boy. He is not helping his friends because he cares. He is doing it to buy safety. By the time this boy reaches 25, the concrete has hardened. The mask is fused to his face. He enters the adult world operating on a survival map that was drawn when he was 5 years old. Think about the insanity of this. He walks into a boardroom negotiation with the emotional strategy of a terrified child trying to placate an angry father. He walks into a romantic relationship with the strategy of a little boy trying to soothe a lonely mother. He thinks, if I hide my needs, they will love me. If I don't cause trouble, I will be safe. If I do everything right, I will be rewarded. But the adult world is not his parents' house. In the adult world, if you hide your needs, you don't get loved, you get ignored. In the adult world, if you avoid conflict, you don't get safety, you get disrespected. In the adult world, performance without boundaries is not virtue, it is slavery. The nice guy is a man walking through a war zone, holding a teddy bear, wondering why he keeps getting shot. He doesn't realize that the agreement he made with the universe, I will be a good boy and you will give me a smooth life, is a contract that only exists in his head. And this is where the suffering begins. The disconnection from his true self leaves him feeling empty, anxious, and perpetually exhausted. He is an actor playing a role he hates for an audience that isn't even watching. He has amputated his own soul to fit into a box that is too small for him. And the tragedy is, he thinks this box is his personality. He says, I'm just a nice guy. No, you are not. You are a traumatized survivor who is still hiding from a danger that ceased to exist 20 years ago. You are a lion pretending to be a house cat because you were raised in a living room. But the jungle is calling, and the house cat strategy is no longer working. To recover, we must go back to the source. We must look at that terrified child and tell him, you are safe now. You don't have to perform anymore. You can put down the mask. But putting down the mask reveals the one thing the nice guy fears more than death, his own shadow. Chapter 2. Covert Contracts and the Transactional Heart. If Chapter 1 was the diagnosis of the childhood wound, Chapter 2 is the exposure of the crime. And make no mistake, the nice guy's strategy is a crime. It is a crime of deception committed against the people he claims to love. The central mechanism of the nice guy's psychology is something Dr. Robert Glover calls a covert contract. To understand this, imagine a vending machine. You put a coin in, you press a button, and a soda comes out. It is a simple, mechanical transaction. Input leads to output. The nice guy views human relationships exactly like this vending machine. His covert contract reads like this: I will do this thing for you that you didn't ask for, and in return you will give me what I want. He listens to a woman complain about her ex-boyfriend for 3 hours. He is not doing this because he enjoys the conversation. He is putting a coin in the machine. He expects that his patience buys him a ticket to her heart. He covers for his lazy co-worker. He is not doing this out of professional duty. He is putting a coin in the machine. He expects this sacrifice to buy him immunity from criticism or a future favor. But here is the catch, and this is why it is called covert. He never tells anyone about the contract. He never says, I am listening to you for 3 hours because I want to sleep with you. He never says, I am doing your work because I want you to owe me. He keeps the contract hidden in his pocket. And when the other person, who has no idea this contract exists, does not pay him back in the currency he expects, the nice guy does not just get sad, he gets furious. This is the dark secret that no nice guy wants to admit. He is full of rage. He feels scammed. He looks at the world and thinks, after everything I did for them, I sacrificed my time. I listened. I was perfect. And this is how they treat me. He becomes the victim. In his mind, he is the martyr being crucified by a selfish world. But in reality, he is a manipulator whose manipulation failed. Let's look at the psychology of this transactional heart. When you give to get, you are not giving. You are trading. You are loan sharking. True generosity is giving with zero expectation of return. It comes from a place of abundance. It says, I have so much value that I can share it. The nice guy's giving comes from a place of scarcity. It says, I am empty. I will give you this small service, so you will fill me up. This creates a repulsive aura. Have you ever met a salesperson who was pretending to be your friend just to sell you insurance? You can feel the slime, right? You can feel the hidden agenda behind his smile. That is how the nice guy feels to women and the world. People are intuitive. They can sense when your kindness comes with a price tag. A woman can feel when a man is being nice just to get something. It kills attraction instantly. It makes her feel unsafe. It makes her feel like she is a project, not a person. Furthermore, covert contracts destroy the nice guy's own character. Because he is always modifying his behavior to get a result, he has no core, he has no spine. He is a shapeshifter. He will agree with a feminist to get laid. He will agree with a conservative boss to get promoted. He will become whatever the room needs him to be. But a man who stands for nothing falls for anything. The tragedy of the covert contract is that it is a self-fulfilling prophecy of failure. 1. You hide your needs to be low maintenance. 2. People assume you don't need anything, so they give you nothing. 3. You resent them for not reading your mind. 4. You explode in passive-aggressive anger. 5. They get confused and leave you. 6. You say, "See, I knew everyone leaves me." To break this cycle, you must do the most terrifying thing a nice guy can imagine. You must stop giving to get. You must burn the contracts. If you want to do something nice, do it because you want to do it, regardless of the outcome. If you hold the door open, do it because you are a gentleman, not because you want her to smile. If she ignores you, it shouldn't matter, because the act was for your standard, not her reaction. And if you want something, ask for it, explicitly, directly, boldly. I want a raise. I want to take you on a date. I am angry about what you said. The world respects a man who makes his intentions clear, even if the answer is no. The world despises a man who smiles while hiding a bill in his hand. Stop being a vending machine. Start being a man. Chapter 3. The Biology of Disgust. To understand why the nice guy strategy fails so catastrophically, we must leave the polite world of modern psychology and enter the ruthless, bloody and honest world of evolutionary biology. We like to think of ourselves as sophisticated, civilized beings living in glass cities, but your brain is not modern. Your brain is a 2-million-year-old piece of hardware designed for the African savanna. It is designed for a world of predators, scarcity, and tribal warfare. In that world, niceness, defined as the inability to defend oneself, the avoidance of conflict, and the desperate need for approval, was not a virtue. It was a death sentence. And this brings us to the most painful truth that the nice guy must face. The reason people, especially women, do not respect you is not because they are mean or shallow. It is because you trigger a deep, biological disgust response in their nervous system. Let's analyze this through the lens of the female imperative. For 99% of human history, a woman's survival depended on her mate. She needed a man who could protect her from wild animals, from other warring tribes, and from starvation. She needed a man who had the capacity for aggression, the capacity for violence, and the spine to say no to a threat. When a woman looks at a man, her ancient brain is asking one fundamental question: can this man keep me safe? Now, look at the nice guy. He smiles when he's nervous. He apologizes when he has done nothing wrong. He looks at the floor during conflict. He asks for permission to speak. He is terrified of offending anyone. What signal is he sending to her ancient brain? He is signaling, I am weak, I am submissive, I am prey. And to the female nervous system, a man who acts like prey is not cute. He is a liability. If you cannot protect your own boundaries against a rude waiter or an overbearing boss, how can you possibly protect her against the chaos of the world? You cannot. This is why the nice guy often gives women what they call the ick, that sudden visceral feeling of repulsion. It happens when a man tries too hard to please. It happens when he is too available. It happens when he agrees with everything she says. He thinks he is being supportive. She feels like she's talking to a child. When a man suppresses his own personality to please a woman, he forces her into the role of the leader. He forces her to make the decisions. He forces her to be the masculine energy in the relationship. And while she might tolerate this for a while, eventually she will resent him for it. Sexual polarity dies in a vacuum of masculine authority. A harmless man offers no shelter. You cannot feel safe in a house built of straw, but it is not just women. The biological disgust for the nice guy runs just as deep in the hierarchy of men. Men organize themselves into hierarchies of competence and strength. In a hunting party, or a corporate boardroom, or a sports team, men are constantly testing each other. They use banter, they use debate, they use conflict to measure the mettle of the man next to them. They are asking, can I trust this man in a crisis? The nice guy fails this test immediately. Because he is addicted to approval, he will not speak the truth if it is unpopular. He will not defend a position if it causes tension. He is slippery. To other men, the nice guy is dangerous, not because he's aggressive, but because he's unreliable. A man who cannot say no to you today, cannot say no to your enemy tomorrow. He will fold under pressure. He will betray the tribe to save his own skin. This is why bullies target the nice guy. It is not just cruelty, it is a biological function. The bully is subconsciously exposing the weak link in the chain. The nice guy believes that if he is submissive, the alpha males will accept him and protect him. But nature doesn't work that way. In nature, submission does not buy protection. It invites exploitation. If you act like a doormat, do not be surprised when people wipe their feet on you. It is what doormats are for. So, what is the solution? Do you have to become a brute? Do you have to become a tyrant? No. That is the opposite extreme, and it is just as weak. The tyrant is driven by fear, just like the nice guy. The goal is to become what the Swiss psychiatrist Carl Jung called integrated. You must integrate the monster. You must look into the dark basement of your psyche and find your aggression. You must find your capacity for selfishness. You must find your teeth. Dr. Jordan Peterson famously said, "A harmless man is not a good man. A good man is a very dangerous man who has that under voluntary control." Think about the difference between a domesticated dog and a wolf. A dog is nice because it has been broken. A wolf is not nice, but it can be loyal. It can be loving. But its love has value because it is a choice, not a biological necessity. You need to reclaim your capacity for maybe. When someone asks you for a favor, you need the capacity to say no. When someone disrespects you, you need the capacity to escalate the conflict. When you want something, you need the capacity to take it. Once you have this capacity, once you know that you could bite if you had to, you don't actually have to bite very often. People can sense it. It is an energy. It is an aura of self-respect. When you stop needing people's approval, you stop emitting the smell of fear. Your posture changes, your voice drops. You hold eye contact longer. You stop laughing at jokes that aren't funny. You stop filling the silence with nervous chatter. And suddenly, the biology flips. Instead of disgust, you trigger respect. Instead of the ick, you trigger attraction. Because now you are not a safe, harmless child. You are a man who has chosen peace, but is capable of war. and that is the only kind of man the world has ever respected. Chapter 4. The Volcano of Repressed Rage. If you ask a nice guy to describe himself, the first word he will likely use is calm. He prides himself on being the peacemaker. He prides himself on his infinite patience. He looks in the mirror and sees a saint who tolerates the flaws of a chaotic world. But this image is a hallucination. If you could peel back the skin of the nice guy and look at his nervous system, you would not see a calm lake. You would see a nuclear reactor melting down. This brings us to the darkest paradox of this pathology. The nice guy is usually the angriest person in the room. He is not angry in the way a tyrant is angry, loud, explosive, and obvious. He is angry in the way a prisoner is angry. It is a cold, pressurized, corrosive resentment that rots him from the inside out. To understand this rage, we must understand the physics of emotion. Emotion is energy. Anger, specifically, is a biological fuel designed to protect your boundaries. When someone crosses a line, your body floods with adrenaline and cortisol to give you the energy to push back. It is a survival mechanism. But the nice guy has been conditioned to believe that anger is bad. He believes that anger makes him toxic, unsafe, or like his abusive father. So when he feels anger, he does not express it. He swallows it. But energy cannot be destroyed. It can only be stored. Every time he says yes when he wanted to say no, he swallows a drop of poison. Every time he smiles at a boss who disrespects him, he swallows a drop of poison. Every time he sacrifices his needs for a partner who doesn't appreciate it, he swallows a drop of poison. Over 10, 20, or 30 years, this poison accumulates. It turns into a thick, heavy sludge called resentment. Resentment is the anger of the victim. It is the feeling that says, "I have given so much and I have received so little. The world owes me." Because the nice guy cannot express this anger directly because he is terrified of conflict, the anger must find another way out. Like water trapped under pressure, it finds the cracks. It leaks out in the most destructive form of communication known to man: passive aggression. Passive aggression is the weapon of the coward. It is the art of attacking someone without getting caught. It is warfare from the shadows. The nice guy doesn't scream at his wife. He just forgets to do the thing she asked him to do. He doesn't confront his friend. He just shows up 30 minutes late. He doesn't tell you he is offended. He just makes a sarcastic joke and then says, "Relax, I was just kidding." He withdraws emotionally. He pouts. He creates a cold, heavy silence that punishes everyone in the house. He convinces himself that he is not being aggressive. He thinks, "I didn't yell. I didn't hit anyone. I am innocent." But the people around him feel the hostility. They feel the tension. They feel like they are walking on landmines. This is why relationships with nice guys are so exhausting. You are fighting a ghost. You know something is wrong. You know he is angry, but he denies it. He gaslights you with his niceness. "I'm fine. Nothing is wrong. I'm just tired." This repression creates a cycle of self-destruction. The nice guy creates covert contracts, expecting love in return for sacrifice. When the world doesn't pay up, he feels victimized. This victimization fuels his rage. But because he cannot express the rage, he doubles down on being nice to try to manipulate the outcome again. And the pressure builds and builds and builds. Eventually, the volcano must erupt. There are only two ways this story ends. Option 1 is the explosion. The nice guy finally snaps. It is usually over something small, a dirty dish, a traffic jam, a misplaced remote. But the reaction is disproportionate. He screams, he breaks things, he says unforgivable things. The people around him are shocked. "Where did this come from?" they ask. It didn't come from the dirty dish. It came from 20 years of silence. Option 2 is implosion. If he is too terrified to explode, the body attacks itself. The repressed rage turns into depression, anxiety, chronic fatigue, autoimmune diseases, or sexual dysfunction. The body says, "If you will not fight the world, I will fight you." You cannot kill the warrior inside you. You can only chain him up in the basement. And a warrior chained in the dark does not go to sleep. He goes insane. To heal, you must make friends with your anger. You must stop viewing anger as a negative emotion and start viewing it as a data point. Anger is simply a notification from your soul. It is a blinking red light on the dashboard that says, "Boundary breach detected." When you feel anger, it means someone has disrespected you, or you have betrayed yourself. Instead of shoving it down, you must listen to it. You must use it. You don't need to yell. You don't need to be violent. But you do need to say, "I don't like that. I am not okay with this." No. When you release the pressure valve in real time, the volcano goes dormant. You don't build up resentment because you handle the business as it happens. You become lighter, you become clearer, and ironically, once you allow yourself to be angry, you will finally find the one thing you have been faking all these years: true calm. Chapter 5. The Shadow Self. Jungian Integration. We have diagnosed the disease. We have exposed the manipulation. We have acknowledged the rage. Now we arrive at the cure. And the cure is not what you think. Most self-help advice tells you to be more positive, to let go of anger, or to focus on the light. This is useless advice for the nice guy. He has been focusing on the light his entire life, and all it has done is scorch him. To fix the nice guy, we must go into the dark. We must turn to the work of the Swiss psychiatrist Carl Jung and his concept of the shadow. Jung famously said, "One does not become enlightened by imagining figures of light, but by making the darkness conscious." The shadow consists of all the parts of yourself that you were told were bad or unacceptable when you were a child. For the nice guy, the shadow is massive. It contains his aggression, his selfishness, his sexuality, his ambition, his capacity for cruelty, and his hunger for power. He has spent 20 or 30 years shoving these traits into a dark basement, locking the door, and pretending they don't exist. He presents a sanitized, manicured persona to the world. A persona that says, "I am pure, I am harmless, I am good." But here is the metaphysical law you cannot escape. The brighter the light, the darker the shadow. By denying your dark side, you have not destroyed it. You have simply cut yourself off from your own battery source. You see, the shadow is not just where your evil lives. It is where your power lives. Aggression is the same energy as drive. Sexual dominance is the same energy as creativity. Selfishness is the same energy as self-preservation. When you castrate your dark side, you also castrate your ability to be effective in the world. You become limp. You become impotent, not just sexually, but spiritually. You lose your edge. This is why nice guys often feel lethargic, unmotivated, and depressed. They have disconnected the power cable because they are afraid of the spark. The goal of recovery is not to become a bad person. The goal is integration. Integration means realizing that you are capable of terrible things and being okay with that. It means looking in the mirror and admitting, "I have the capacity to be a monster. I have the capacity to hurt people. I have the capacity to be selfish. This sounds terrifying to the nice guy. He thinks, if I acknowledge my inner monster, will I lose control? Will I become like my father? The answer is no. A monster you can see is a monster you can control. A monster you deny is a monster that controls you. The men who snap and commit crimes of passion are almost never the integrated men. They are the repressed men. They are the men who denied their shadow until it possessed them. So, how do you integrate the shadow? You stop apologizing for your nature. You stop judging your own thoughts. When a dark thought enters your mind, a thought of vengeance, a thought of dominance, a thought of greed, do not repress it. Do not tell yourself, I am a bad person for thinking this. Instead, look at it. Invite it in. Sit with it. Say, I see you. You are a part of me. You don't have to act on it. You don't have to punch the guy who cut you off in traffic, but you must allow yourself to feel the impulse to punch him. You must respect the part of you that wants to defend your territory. This is the birth of the warrior archetype. A warrior is not a man who loves violence. A warrior is a man who has mastered it. In ancient cultures, young men were initiated into adulthood through rituals that forced them to confront their fear and their aggression. They were taught that violence is a tool. It is dangerous, yes, but necessary. The nice guy has no tool belt. He has only a smile. And you cannot build a life or defend a family with only a smile. When you integrate your shadow, something magical happens to your presence. You develop gravitas. People can sense that there is more to you than meets the eye. They sense a depth. They sense that you are not harmless. This makes your kindness meaningful. If a man who is incapable of violence is kind to you, it means nothing. He has no choice. He is forced to be kind by his own weakness. But if a man who is capable of destroying you chooses to be kind to you, that is a compliment. That is mercy. That is strength. Women in particular are highly attuned to this. They crave a man who is safe, but not harmless. Safe means, I trust him not to hurt me. Harmless means, he couldn't hurt anyone even if he tried. A woman cannot surrender to a harmless man. She cannot trust him to lead. She knows that if the world comes knocking, he will fold. She wants a monster who has been disciplined, a beast who is housebroken but still has his fangs. The process of integration is the process of growing your teeth back. It starts with small acts of rebellion against your nice programming. Say no to a small request today. Disagree with an opinion you don't like. Buy yourself something you want before you buy gifts for others. Let someone be disappointed in you, and don't fix it. Feel the tension. Feel the guilt trying to pull you back into submission. And then realize that the world didn't end. The sky didn't fall. You survived being selfish. You survived being not nice. And in that survival, you will find a freedom you have never known. You are no longer a slave to being good. You are free to be whole. Chapter 6. The Art of Disapproval. We have explored the darkness of the shadow. Now we must bring that power into the light of day. We must talk about the practical application of sovereignty. We must talk about boundaries. For the nice guy, the word boundary is abstract. He understands it intellectually, but he cannot perform it physically. When someone asks him for a favor he doesn't want to do, his mouth says yes before his brain can even process the request. It is a reflex. It is a knee-jerk spasm of compliance. And if he tries to say no, his body rebels. His heart races. His palms sweat. A wave of nauseating guilt washes over him. He feels like he has committed a murder. Why does a simple two-letter word trigger such a catastrophic physical reaction? Because to the nice guy, a boundary feels like an act of aggression. He believes that if he draws a line, he is hurting the other person. He believes that if he denies a request, he is breaking the contract of goodness. But here is the truth you need to write on the walls of your mind. A man without boundaries is not a man. He is a public utility. If your time, your energy, and your resources are available to anyone who asks, you have no value. Oxygen is free, but gold is rare. You have made yourself oxygen. You are everywhere. You are necessary, but you're taken for granted. To become gold, you must become scarce. This chapter is your training manual for the art of disapproval. Most people spend their lives trying to avoid disapproval. The nice guy runs from it like it is the plague, but the sovereign man leans into it. He understands that disapproval is not a sign of failure. It is a sign of definition. If you stand for something, you will inevitably offend the people who stand for the opposite. If you have standards, you will inevitably disappoint the people who do not meet them. If nobody dislikes you, it means you do not exist. It means you are a ghost floating through life, agreeing with everyone, reflecting everyone, and being nothing. You must learn to tolerate the anxiety of being disliked. This is the gym for your soul. Every time you say no and someone gets angry, you are lifting a heavy weight. It hurts, it burns, but it builds the muscle of self-respect. So, how do we break the yes reflex? First, you must stop explaining yourself. This is the most common trap. When a nice guy finally summons the courage to say no, he immediately ruins it by offering a paragraph of excuses. I can't come to your party because my car is acting weird and I have to wake up early and my cat is sick. Stop. When you explain, you are submitting. You are telling the other person, I acknowledge that you have authority over me, so here is my evidence for why I should be excused. You are handing them the power to judge your excuse. If they can solve your excuse, oh, don't worry, I'll pick you up. You are trapped. You have to say yes or invent another lie. No is a complete sentence. You do not owe anyone an explanation for how you use your life. I can't make it. That doesn't work for me. I'm not interested. These are statements of power. They are closed doors. There is no handle on the outside. Second, you must master the pause. The nice guy is terrified of silence. Silence feels like tension, and he rushes to fill it with compliance. When someone puts pressure on you or asks a manipulative question, do not answer immediately. Take a breath, look them in the eye, count to 3. This pause signals that you are considering your own needs, not just theirs. It breaks the trance of obedience. It tells them, I am not a vending machine. I am a deliberate actor. Third, you must prepare for the extinction burst. When you start setting boundaries, the people around you will not applaud. They will rebel. They have benefited from your lack of boundaries for years. You have been their servant, their emotional sponge, their doormat. When the doormat suddenly stands up and locks the door, they will get angry. They will call you selfish. They will call you changed. They will try to guilt trip you. Do not panic. This is not a sign that you're doing something wrong. It is a sign that you're doing something right. This is called an extinction burst, the tantrum a child throws when they realize the old manipulation tactics no longer work. Stand your ground. Do not apologize. Let them be angry. Let them be disappointed. This is the crucible. If you can hold your frame while someone you care about is upset with you, you have graduated. You have severed the umbilical cord. You are no longer a child seeking mommy's approval. You are a man defining his terms. Fourth, realize that boundaries create respect. This is the paradox. The nice guy thinks boundaries will make people leave him. The opposite is true. Think of the people you respect most in this world. Do they say yes to everything? Are they available 24/7? Do they apologize for their standards? Number. They are guarded. They are selective. They are hard to access. And because they protect their value, you covet their value. When you start saying no, people might be annoyed in the short term, but they will respect you in the long term. They will know that your yes means something. If you say yes to everything, your yes is cheap. It is counterfeit currency. But if you say no to 90% of things, then your yes becomes a diamond. You teach people how to treat you. Every interaction is a training session. If you tolerate disrespect, you are training them to disrespect you. If you tolerate lateness, you are training them that your time is worthless. If you tolerate emotional dumping, you are training them that you are a trash can. It is time to change the training manual. It is time to draw the line in the sand. This week, I want you to find small ways to practice the art of disapproval. Send food back if it's cold. End a phone call before the other person is done. Walk away from a conversation that bores you. Tell someone, "I don't agree with that." Feel the heat rise in your chest. Feel the instinct to apologize. And then, don't. Sit in the fire. Burn away the need to be liked. And from the ashes, forge the iron of self-respect. Chapter 7. The Rebirth. Sovereignty. We have arrived at the final stage of the metamorphosis. We have diagnosed the trauma, burned the covert contracts, awakened the biology of aggression, integrated the shadow, and erected the walls of our boundaries. Now, we must look at what lives inside those walls. The end goal of this journey is not just to stop being nice. That is merely a negation. The goal is to become something positive. The goal is to become sovereign. The word sovereign is usually reserved for kings and nations. It means supreme ruler. It means a state that answers to no external authority. A sovereign nation does not ask its neighbors for permission to build a road. It does not apologize for its borders. It governs itself. For the nice guy, this is a radical shift in consciousness. For his entire life, the nice guy has been a satellite. He has spent decades orbiting around other people, his parents, his partner, his boss, his friends. He has defined his trajectory by their gravity. If they are happy, he is safe. If they are angry, he wobbles. He has no gravity of his own. The sovereign man is not a satellite. He is a sun. He has his own mass. He has his own gravity. He burns with his own purpose. People orbit him, not because he forces them to, but because he is warm, he is bright, and he is stable. To achieve this state, you must undergo a psychological revolution, the shift of the point of origin. Most men live with an external point of origin. Before they do anything, they subconsciously ask, how will this be received? What will she think? Will this make me look good? Their reality is defined by the audience. They are actors on a stage, desperate for applause. The sovereign man operates from an internal point of origin. He asks, does this align with my code? Do I want to do this? Is this true to me? He has fired the audience. The theater is empty. He is performing for an audience of one, himself. This brings us to the most difficult addiction you must break, the addiction to validation. The nice guy is a validation junkie. He needs a constant IV drip of good boy credits to feel like he exists. If a woman doesn't text him back, he crashes. If a boss criticizes him, he collapses. He has outsourced his self-esteem to the marketplace. Sovereignty means taking your self-esteem back in-house. You must become the sole judge and jury of your own worth. If you did a good job, you know it. You don't need a pat on the head. If you live by your code, you are valuable. You don't need a woman to tell you you are a catch. This is a terrifying freedom. It means that if the whole world misunderstands you, but you know you are right, you can sleep soundly. It means you stop explaining yourself. Explaining is a symptom of the external point of origin. You explain because you need the other person to agree with your reality. The sovereign man does not need you to agree with his reality. His reality simply is, I am doing this. I am going there. This is who I am. Take it or leave it. And this brings us to the paradox of attraction. The nice guy chases people because he needs them to complete him. He is half a person looking for another half. The sovereign man is a whole person. He needs nothing. And because he needs nothing, he becomes infinitely desirable. There is nothing more attractive to a woman or to the world than a man who is perfectly content in his own solitude. A man who can sit in a room alone and be happy is a man who cannot be manipulated. You cannot threaten him with abandonment because he is already whole. You cannot bribe him with attention because he already has his own respect. This creates the open door policy. The nice guy locks the door and begs people to stay. He clings. He suffocates. The sovereign man leaves the door wide open. He says, "You are welcome to come in and share my warmth, but you are also free to leave. I will not chase you. I will not change my shape to fit through the door with you. I am here. I am solid. If you walk away, I will still be here." This is not arrogance. It is stability. It is the mountain versus the wind. The wind blows. It howls. It changes direction. The mountain does not argue with the wind. It just stands. When you reach this state, the rage disappears. Remember the anger of the nice guy. It came from feeling owed. It came from the covert contracts. The sovereign man has no contracts. He gives because he chooses to give, not to get. If he loves freely. If he helps generously. And if he doesn't want to help, he says no without guilt. He is clean. There is no sludge of resentment in his veins. So, how do you live this? You start by building a life that you respect. Not a life that looks good on Instagram. Not a life that makes your mother proud. A life that makes you proud. Chase a mission that scares you. Build a body that commands respect. Cultivate a mind that is sharp. Fill your own cup until it overflows. When your cup is full, you stop looking for others to fill it. You stop walking through life like a beggar with an empty bowl, asking for scraps of affection. You become the king at the banquet. You have enough for yourself and enough to share. This is the death of the boy. The boy needs a mommy. The boy needs permission. The boy needs to be told he is good. The man needs a mission. The man needs a code. The man validates himself. The transition is complete. You have killed the nice guy. You have buried the victim. You have integrated the monster. You have built the walls. You have taken the throne. The world is no longer something that happens to you. The world is something that happens through you. Walk tall. Look people in the eye. Speak your truth. And never, ever apologize for being who you are. You are free.